Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coach's Corner today. Where's that applause? There it is. Well, amazing session of Coach's Corner. If you're new here, welcome. We're going to share some very, very powerful material and also our experiences of it. And we're here to help you, inspire you, motivate you, educate you, but most importantly, for you to apply what we share today. So, I love Coach's Corner because we're allowed to be ourselves, which is amazing. You're whoever you want to be. You're whoever you want to be in this life, and we're going to touch on that today. So my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business consultant, trained by Bob Proctor, the legend, as well as my colleagues here as well. I'm in the Maryland area, and it's all about believing in the unseen. You have to believe in that goal and believe in whatever it is that you desire, that it's there waiting for you. And, I help guide you to that. So my purpose is to reveal the hidden potential that's already within you and guide you to your truest desires. So I work with anyone, individuals, businesses, business owners, just anyone that really desires change in their life and improvement in their life in some form or fashion, personally or professionally. And I love talking about this material, and I get very excited. So I'll pass it on to my awesome colleague, Alicia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alicia Espinosa. Thank you, Jamel.
Welcome.
I am in Sweden, and I help people that want to create a life that feels good on the inside. And I also help leaders to be a leader worth following. And from the Spanish community, I'm creating a community for women that want to create a life that is aligned with their values. Lou.
Thank you, Alicia. Good morning, good afternoon, Jamel, Paul. I'm so grateful to be here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here live or catching the replay. We're excited to have you here. So, Parika, I am a success mindset mentor, and I guide women back to the truth of who they are. We are powerful, we are capable, and we are designed for more. And I help untie those mindset knots that keep you playing small so you can live, lead, and create from a higher identity of yourself. And I'm excited about today's call because last week we started exploring the idea of feeling is the secret, but it's not more effort or willpower or positive thinking alone, but it's really looking closely at how our inner feelings, quietly shape the experiences that we have. So I'm looking forward to discussing this chapter, part 2, with my amazing colleagues. And I will hand it over to Paul.
Thank you, Lou, and very well said. Yeah, my name's Paul Wooters. I'm in Burlington, Ontario, success mindset coach, Proctor Gallagher consultant. As Jamel said, also mentored by the late, great Bob Proctor. And I'm also the director of the Leadership and Development Department at the World Life Education Center. And so I help people transform their lives because transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens with intention and by design. So helping people make those professional or personal goals, helping them to achieve those personal and professional goals, whether they're an academic goal like for a student or a athletic goal for athletes or entrepreneurs, business leaders, salespeople. Just if you want to really create and design the life that you deserve. And as I like to say, to help you live to your greatest possibilities. Jamel.
Oh, wow. This is awesome. This is going to be so good. I just realized something. Today is January 11th, 111. I didn't even notice. So here we are talking about subconscious and conscious and consciousness, the law and its operation. As my colleague Lou mentioned, You know, this is part 2 of a very small chapter, and you know, it's full. It's so full of some beautiful acres of diamond. So, if you will, let me just dive right in here. And thank you, Paul. So happy to be here with everyone and share this knowledge. So, we kind of left off last Sunday. And if you missed that particular session, make sure you go back and watch it, you know, because it was packed with just so much to help you this year, right? If it's 2026, you really want to make some changes in your life and some improvements in your life. This is the keys to the kingdom. The keys to the kingdom. And we all have a key within us. And we're going to talk about that. So they mentioned here Neville Goddard, by the way. We're talking about Feeling is the Secret. If you didn't know, that is a very short book, but a very poetic and beautiful book that talks about how you can create things and manifest things and attract things. And, you know, to kind of leave off where we were, there's a note here. He says, be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. So your feelings, listen to the title, Feeling is the Secret. Your feelings dictate everything. And your feelings they follow what you think. That's why it's important to be aware of the thoughts you emphasize in your mind, you know, consistently every day. And how many thoughts a day we have? Maybe 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day. And how many of those are you actually aware of? And a lot of them are negative, unfortunately. So a lot of people create this cycle where they're creating what they don't want over and over and over. And we'll talk about, you know, the subconscious, but it says, be careful of your moods. What is the mood? Mood is a word to describe your vibration. So if you're not feeling good, this is just another live stream I came across. Who are these people? I don't know what they're talking about. That's a bad mood. That's a bad low vibration, right? And it says, be careful of your moods. So that all that is just be aware how you're feeling, because how you're feeling will always create your future and always create the results in your life. And he says it's an unbroken connection, unbroken. So it can never be separated from your feelings and your visible world. This is something you better take note of and be very serious and understand, because it can never separate. Your feelings and your visible world is inseparable. So if you're not conscious of, hey, I got to switch my thinking, I got to be aware of that, you're going to continuously snowball in the wrong direction, right? And it also says your body is an emotional filter, and it bears the unmistakable marks of your prevalent emotions. So this is how the body's related to your feelings. And we talked about it before. We are spiritual beings. We have an intellect, and we live in a physical body. So it even says emotional disturbances, especially suppressed emotions, are the cause of all disease. And we kind of stop there, right? So Neville's talking about how disease builds in the body, even based on your feelings, your vibration. And I know the body is an instrument of the mind. You know, Bob taught us that. And the subconscious actually dictates what the body does. But really think about that, how powerful feelings are, how it can affect the actual vibration of your molecules in your body and cause disease. If you're having intense negative thoughts in your mind over and over and over again, the body will reflect what you've been emphasizing. So that's just a couple things to kind of kick it off there, because, you know, it meant something to me, and it kind of jumped out at me, because I know a lot of people can relate to that.
Okay, yeah. I'll pop on. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
So yeah, sorry. Thanks, Jamel. So think about what Jamel just said there, that, you know, what you're thinking causes how you feel. So I was having this discussion with someone last week, and I said, well, like, hey, think about when you watch a movie. You're watching a movie, and that movie can make you cry. or it can make you laugh. It's just a movie or even a book. You can be heavily invested in a book and it can give you all sorts of feelings. It can scare you. You can say, that's scary, that's funny. And it causes your emotion, causes your hair to stand up on end. It gives you goosebumps. It makes you, something on television might make you burst into tears, laughing or crying. So why is that? And to someone else, I might say, well, I don't think that's very funny, or I don't think that's very sad, or that doesn't affect me the same way, because you're not having those same thoughts about that. So that's how powerful your thoughts are. That's how powerful your thoughts are changing. As Jamel said, the molecules in your body. Just think about how that can happen to yourself. You know, you feel something, you're excited about a trip, and you're excited, you're bursting, or you can see people walking and their body is slumped over, think about what their body language is telling them. And why is that? It's because of what they're thinking. So you're really happy, you're excited, you express it, you express what it is you're feeling. I'm excited about that trip. I'm excited about going to California because Lou's going there. Or I'm really sad because something happened and I feel really down. And then you give yourself a time limit, right? So if you're going to be upset, you're going to be sad. How long are you going to be sad? Are you going to be sad for an hour? Are you going to be sad for a day? Are you going to be sad for a week? Are you still sad? Are you still mad about something that happened a month ago? So you're deciding that feeling. That feeling is expressed. Lou, you had something you were going to say.
Well, I was going to share kind of what you were sharing. I was like, oh, that son of a gun is going to talk what I was going to talk about. But so Jamel mentioned mood and Paul talked about movies. And I had posted something a couple of weeks ago when I was on the treadmill at the gym. They have a series of TVs, maybe, I don't know, 25, 30 TVs. And with each screen, there's something different. It could be the news, it could be a comedy, it could be a talk show, etc. And looking at it just made me realize whatever I'm focusing on is going to affect my mood. It's going to affect how I feel. If I'm going to be tuned in to the news and I see war and things being blown up or things like that, I'm going to feel very down. It's going to affect me. So last week we were talking about the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And the conscious mind is very personal. It's selective, meaning it can choose. It can choose what thoughts to think. You can't control that first thought. It just sneaks right in. But once that first thought sneaks in, when you understand what's happening, you say, oh, I'm going to reject that thought or cancel that thought. So if I'm watching the news, for an example, and there's death, there's all kinds of terrible things happening, I know now I am not going to get sucked into that. I am going to use my conscious thinking mind and be selective of what I choose to put in, what I choose to feed my mind. Just like when you go to a buffet, you can just get the desserts or whatever, or the fruits and vegetables. You get to choose. And whatever I'm paying attention to, remember, your attention is your currency. That's why a vibration is a current, right? So this is why we hear, pay attention, because you are investing into something that is your personal currency. It's like money, right? So I was really glad to hear that and to remember that. So the conscious mind is personal, it's selective, it gets to create ideas, where the subconscious mind is impersonal. It just accepts. So whatever you're watching, let's just go back to TV or movies, or whatever you're focusing your attention to, you are shifting the vibration in your body. And it could be so subtle, because perhaps you watch these things over and over again throughout the day or throughout the week. So you may not even notice the difference. But we are human antennas. And we are transmitting and receiving all day long. So if we're hooked on watching something, it's going to shift our vibration. It's going to shift the frequency that we're sending out. And the universe doesn't respond to, actions and willpower. It responds to the vibration, to the frequency, to aligned frequency that we're sending out. So this is why it's very important, at least I believe for myself and for my colleagues, to really understand what's going on. As Alicia said before we hopped on live, it's about self-leadership. Take personal responsibility for how you're thinking and feeling, behaving, and the results that you get in your life. Alicia.
Yeah, I was thinking about what Paul said about a movie, because yesterday I normally don't watch TV, but I was sitting yesterday with my partner, and we were seeing something, and this guy were discussing. He's a movie star, and he were talking about his childhood, about how it was with his father, and many things that happened to him when he was a child. And I was crying, and I told my partner that I feel so touched about that. And it was because I have similar experience when I was a child. And I was not just touched by his, story, but what my brain were connecting, his telling his story to what I have in my subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind is like a map. We have a map of, for example, I live in Gävle, it's in the north of Sweden. And in my brain, I have a map about how I take me to every different places. And Paul, you have another map, and Lou, you have another, and Jamel, you have another. So we have so different map. And our brain is, as soon as we see and hear, and from the subconscious, for the conscious mind, we receive the information right away. The brain is trying to connect the dots to the map that we have in the subconscious mind all the time. So I was feeling like, that I felt so sad, and again, living my childhood in my head, not his childhood, but it was my childhood. So it's very interesting what our brain does, connecting the dots for what we have in our inner map, and you talk about the conscious and subconscious mind and how we can choose. And this is the best gift we have from life, from the universe, that we can choose, and the animals, they cannot choose. But we can choose. We are a part of the nature, but we are the only ones that can choose. I can choose to stay in that state that I was yesterday, or I can choose to move from that. And then when I said that, and I said, yeah, but I'm so grateful for everything that happened to me before, because it's me today. It's not, I don't want to take any part of me, because then it will not be me. So when we start to choose and stop to judge, because it's the judgment that we have that create the bad feelings, when we judge that this is bad, and then we stay in that state all the time. But I move from that this is bad, that would happen to me at the beginning, as you say, Lou, before, that the first thought that come to me is maybe I cannot do nothing, but I can choose what I entertain. And that is the power that we have as human beings, to choose and not to stay and focus on what we can control, and let be what we cannot control. Like being 100% in the now, because I cannot do anything about the past more than taking experience and unlearning from that. But I cannot either start to create fear for the future, because I don't know nothing about the future. The only thing that I know is here, and that I am breathing at the moment.
Mhm.
So good. So good. I love it. Each of you, as you're speaking about movies, I look at the word, and before I talk about that, feel free to drop comments, engage with us, of course, message us if any of this speaks to you, because we're speaking more than just words here. And if you're really resonating with this material, just reach out to one of us, because we want to help you with this, right? And it's all about creating what you want. Why go through life and not really understand the best things in life are free? And guess what? You have a free subconscious and a free imagination. And this is just to kind of guide you and give you a little bit more understanding of it, right? So we talked about movies, right? I'm thinking about it. Listen to that word, move. It's to move you with feelings. It first starts in your conscious mind, because you're thinking about whatever, script or words they're saying or whatever scene there is, but then you feel it. So it's to move you. And this is why you got to be very conscious of the content you allow into your mind. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? So and even the ears, right? So, and all your senses. But guess what? You can accept or reject any thoughts in your conscious mind. This was so big for me, right? Up here is your conscious, and here's your subconscious. And this is your body, and these are sensory factors. You can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. So if you're constantly looking at negative stuff on the news, or negative movies, or they're, action scenes, or they're beating each other up and, mutilate, it's just violent and negative. That's all up here. And it starts to leak down here if you're not consciously aware, right? You can reject any thoughts up here, any thoughts. This was so key for me, because I was conditioned to allow everything outside of me, dictate how I felt. And what Neville's talking about, this subconscious, this is the keys to the kingdom. What kingdom are you creating for yourself? So if you're not understanding this, you're kind of walking blindly. Right? If you're watching negative stuff on the news, if you're even listening to music, sometimes in lyrics, they're just like, what? And you have these impressions in your subconscious, and you start feeling it. So it works in reverse. You can think about what you want, right? Get very clear on where you're going and what you desire, and then just impress that, instead of allowing other people's consciousness dictate what goes here. When you're in a negative room full of negative Nancy's or sour Steves, if you will, it's difficult it's challenging to reject their energy. I'm sure everybody here can relate to that. Oh God, here they come again. I know I got to prepare myself. I know, right? We're all human. So this is where awareness comes in, right? And I was thinking about a movie that just jumped in my head, Ratatouille. It's a classic Disney movie. Anybody heard of that one? I think Alicia, no? It's where the chef, he wasn't really good, but he basically got this famous, I think it was a French restaurant, because he inherited it, and he didn't really know how to cook, but he wanted to cook. He had a desire to be a great chef. So long story short, it was this rat that had the gift of palate. There was a rat that knew flavors and knew ingredients. So he ended up helping. They partnered with the guy that couldn't cook, but the rat could cook. So there's an ending scene. I'll kind of spoil it for those, but this is very related. Trust me. There's an ending scene where there was this food critic. He would write this famous, he critiques food and recipes and stuff. And he's very strict. And basically they won him over at the very end because he tasted something that reminded him of his childhood with his mother. We're talking, this guy was grumpy all the time. He just had this mean mug on his face and he would never smile until he tasted that dish. And his eyes gets all watery, you know, they zoom in and a little teary eye. And they go to a scene when he's with his mom. And I'm guessing his mom passed away, but that was the only time in the movie you saw his emotion. And emotion, emotion, energy and motion. So what I'm getting at here is he felt something different, right? And the feeling is the secret. He was able to reconnect with his childhood. It's such a great movie. And I was watching with my daughter. I was like, wow, this is such a great message here. And this goes with anything you want to create. If you're not feeling well, that's a sign from spirit or universe or infinite intelligence or formless substance, whatever you want to call it, is telling you you're going in the wrong direction. Well, you don't want to go in that direction, because if you're not feeling good, it's telling you over and over, you need to feel good, you know, because you're going to create more things that will assist you in feeling whatever vibration that you're in. So it even says to feel intensely about a wrong, you know, without voicing or expressing that feeling is the beginning of disease. So this is referring back to, you know, disease in the body. Disease is both body and environment. So, you know, listen to that. To feel intensely about a wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling is the beginning of disease. So this is when you're holding negative stuff in all the time, right? Just year after year, just harboring on these things. And it says disease in both body and environment. So your outer world is reflecting your inside world, and also your body too, especially when you're holding on to negative things. So it says, do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure. Do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure. So how many times we look at all these things and we're like, oh, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not there yet. One day, I hope, I try, I wish. Like, listen to your inner speech. I hear it all the time. So we're entertaining, especially things of regret. That's deep, because what you're doing, you're not letting go. And we were talking about letting go before we hopped on camera. So do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure, for frustration or detachment for your objective results in disease. Wow. So like I'm saying, you know, all changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. So you have to be very consciously aware of your feelings, and everything else follows. A change of feelings, a change of destiny. Change your destiny today for this year. Let this be a profound message for you, because if you don't change the feelings, especially if they're negative, nothing changes. You'll keep getting the same results. And this is why vibration and feeling is essential for you to understand. Did I talk too long?
Oh, it was so good. It was so good, Janelle.
Sorry. Thank you.
But it was good. It was so good. I love the story. I love the analogies. And I love what you were saying, because there's something you said and something I want to tie back to what Alicia was saying. But being aware of your feelings. So New Year's is often a time, you think New Year's is time of resolution. It's not just a time of resolutions or anything like that. You can decide to make a change anytime. It doesn't have to be with the turn of a page of the calendar. But it's also a time of reflection. And I know I was spending some time, reflecting on the past year and what I didn't do, like what I didn't get done. And I was, you have that inner voice and that inner critic, starts blah, 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 blah. Why didn't you do this? You didn't get this done. You didn't get that done. And then I just had to, that's right, Alicia, right? Yeah, you have those voices inside your head, that inner critic, and you have to be very aware. And I just had to cancel that. And I had to start thinking, like Alicia said, I can't do anything about the past. I can learn from that, but I can't do anything about it. And I can't spend my time worrying about what might happen or might not happen in the future. There's only the here and now. Now is the only time that you have. The present moment. The present moment is the only time you will ever have. Now, the step you're taking at this moment. That's all you have to focus on. So I thought, okay, I was kind of had that inner chatter, kind of pissed off about a few things. I thought, okay, cancel that. What can I do right now? So boom, I got up off my chair and I did something. I did something that I wanted to do. Said, okay, I didn't do that yesterday, or I didn't do that today, or I didn't do that last month, but I'm going to do it right now. And I made a point of doing it right now. And to go back to what Alicia said about our power to choose, our greatest power, because animals operate by instinct. And so because we can choose, we can create, right? So, and we spend too much time focusing on what we don't want. I don't want this to happen. I don't want that. I hope that doesn't happen. Start focusing on what you do. Just cancel that chatter and start focusing on what you do want, and realize that the only time is right now. That's it. The here and now. You can only act right now and control what you can control. So, I made some notes here, some of those insights I have. Like this chapter is the conscious mind is asking, what do I choose to assume? And then the subconscious mind just accepts it. So you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what your subconscious has accepted as normal based on your thoughts. The conscious mind chooses the state. The subconscious mind just expresses it as reality. The feeling is the handoff between the two. So you don't get what you want. You express who you believe yourself to be, and the feeling is the bridge between your imagination and reality. And the law, it's impersonal and it's exact. So it doesn't judge, it doesn't reward or punish, it doesn't care whether your assumptions are positive or negative. It just simply produces what it feels is true based on what you're planting there. So, and this really blew me away, is this statement that life isn't happening to us, it's happening through us. And I really, took my time to really grasp and digest that statement. That was so, so powerful when I really started to understand what that truly, truly meant.
Here we go.
Jamel, you make me laugh.
Good.
So I wanted to, Alicia said something that reminded me of something. A couple of years ago, I had the radio on and I heard a song that I hadn't heard maybe, I even hate to say this, maybe 50 years. Okay. And it wasn't a song I don't think that I loved. Maybe I did at the time, but I heard it, because on the radio, I heard it over and over and over. So this is how the subconscious mind is learning. It's either through emotion, repetition, and familiarity. So when I heard this song 50 years later, I knew the words. I knew the beat, the harmony. I knew when there was a pause. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, you know why? because through repetition, it was impressed upon my subconscious mind. I'm not thinking about the song at all. Didn't think about the song for 50 years. But it was there. It was there. So this is subconscious mind. I want you to think, when we're children, our conscious isn't developed yet. So children, when we're very young, we don't have the ability to accept or choose. Where the subconscious mind is all wide open. And everything from our environment, everything we're hearing, seeing, tasting, touching is leaving an imprint here. Now, you may not think about it, maybe ever, but they've been recorded. So sometimes we want to say, well, I wish I could be more confident. I want to be more confident. Okay, so that's what you're choosing to do up here. But insecurity feels very familiar. It's known. That's how you've always lived. So it's going to take to be very aware and mindful of that feeling. And instead of trying to force, I want to be confident, I want to be confident, say to yourself or ask yourself, what would it feel like if I could just trust myself now? And right then and there, instead of the force of trying to be more confident or whatever it is, to relax and trust. Because if insecurity or low self-esteem and whatnot is known, it's familiar, it's helped shape who you are, it's helped shape all your experiences, it's already known, it's already imprinted. And it's not subconscious saying, ha, 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 ha. It could care less, but it's just been recorded, a tape recorder. The tape recorder doesn't have emotions or feelings about you, it just recorded. So that's why when Alicia was watching that movie, it triggered an imprint. She may not be thinking about her childhood all day long as she's going off and creating leaders and etc. But something got triggered. Something is known and familiar in the subconscious mind. And so when we're trying to force a change, I'm going to be more confident, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to think about it, think about it, think about it. There's a tension, there's a resistance. No, you're not. That's not what we have here. That's not what's been recorded. So we have to relax the subconscious mind. Relax it. So now it's open to receive. Jamel mentioned last week that the subconscious mind is the womb of creation. This is referred to the male, this is referred to the female. So when you get a new idea and you impress it into and introduce it into the subconscious mind, do it with ease and relaxation. It's just like that, the hose, right? When you bend the hose, the water is restricted to flow. But once that hose is straightened out, it's in alignment, the water flows because the energy is flowing to and through us. And it's giving us the ability. What do you want to do with this energy? We're going to give you the ability to think. We're going to give the ability to create. We're going to give you the ability to choose. What do you want to do with it? But if I want to take that energy, I must be in a relaxed state and just trust the process. Trust the process that created the trees, the mountains, the lakes, the oceans, oxygen, everything. I have to trust that process, not my thinking, not the impressions that have been here. I'm not good enough. I'm insecure. I doubt myself. I have to allow for fresh, new ideas to be impressed upon the subconscious mind. And feeling is the language. I think last week, it's not words alone, but it's the feeling behind the word. So if we use the words hate, disgusting, horrible, terrible, now they're just words, but we've been little we understood the meaning and the feeling behind the word. So every time we start saying, oh, that's so disgusting, they're disgusting, I hate that, and they're terrible. Remember, you're an antenna and you are transmitting that energy. It's not the word, but it's the feeling behind the word. You're sending that out into the universe, and the universe responds through resonance. It's impersonal. It just gives back to us that vibration through experiences.
It's so good. It's so good. We all deserve applause today. This is so good.
Yeah, that's good. I was thinking about that you say, Lou, introduce a new idea, when to introduce a new idea to yourself. And, sometimes we focus more on what we don't want, but it's just a waste of time and energy and your resources, because we have a lot of resources, but inside us. But if we focus all the time with what we don't want, all the resources and energy go to that and not to what we want to create. And we need to be very careful when we decide what we want. And also we need to be aware about what we say after we say what we want. For example, last week I was talking to a client of mine, and we're talking about the goals for this 2026. And she was so excited and telling me about the goals. And then she said, but I get so exhausted. And I said, yeah, tell me more about that. And I tell her, what is you telling you after you say your goals and everything? What is coming? The but, but. I want this, but.
Mhm.
I want this, but. I want this, but it will take too much time. I want this, but it will take a lot of money. I want this, my energy out there. And that was creating the exalted energy in her, not the goals. Because you say, I don't understand why I should be very happy. Yeah, but it's not the goal. The goal is the fire inside you. But then you come yourself as the fireman that what is it in English, that is extinguish the fire inside you. So sometimes we are ourselves extinguishers. We extinguish that fire, and and so we need to believe in our goals and in our possibilities, or everything that we have inside us. And I love when you talk about movies, Jamel, because I love watching Disney movies because they are so deep. Sometimes I think that they are not done for children. It's more for, and I love the Zootopia. I don't know if you have seen that.
Yeah,
And
Zootopia. Mhm.
I haven't seen the number 2, but the number 1 is about a rabbit, a she that wants to be police. And, she believes so in her dreams that she say, I'm going to be police. And she is tiny, and then she come to the police school, and with the beers that are very big and everything. But she's working and believing in herself, and then she get not the job of police, but the job of the one that put the paper in the car. So what is the name in when
Oh, that's the parking assistant.
parking, yeah. And she get this parking job, not as police, and she do the excitement, like, oh, I'm going to do this, and so excited about that job. And she, of course, but the result is that believing in yourself, even if it's come hardness with that, with your goals. And I was thinking about what you say, Lou, about creating, how the things are creating with us by emotion and by repetitions. And I have a client many years ago that when we were discussing, she said, I don't know. And I asked a question to her, and she said, I don't know. And I told her, are you aware that even before I ask a question, you tell me that you don't know? And she was, "No, I am not aware of that." I said, yeah, but it is. Everything, all the time. I ask the question. I mean, a coach's job is to ask questions. And I was asking, and she, I don't know. And then we were discussing what happened to her. And she said, when I was around 12, 13, I was at the school. And I was a person that I was reading all the time, studying. And so, and the teacher asked questions, and she wanted to answer. And she answered that, and it was wrong. And all the classmates started to laughing. And for that, she subconsciously made a decision that she never will put herself in that situation again. Subconsciously, she didn't decide, but it's why she was like, oh, I don't know, because she was so afraid that the question the answer she will get was wrong. And she didn't want it to have, the brain, one of the job of the brain is to keep us safe. And here is like emotional safe. So it's something that we need to think about that. So the emotion that situation created make her, have a subconscious programming in her. And also, I was thinking about the repetition. It's like driving a car. At the beginning, we don't know how to drive the car, but getting help from the conscious mind, we imprint to the subconscious mind how we drive the car. So we go from unconscious incompetent to be unconscious competent just by repetition. So that was what I got in the mind when you're talking.
Wow. Yeah, so good, Alicia. It's very interesting how subconscious programming happens and the power it has towards our future and how we perceive things to be. That's why they say the eyes and the ears and the senses can be a gift and a curse. The curse is you not becoming your highest self and limiting your own perception. And it's very, very powerful when you understand it, And Neville talks about it in this chapter. He says, all creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. Mm-hmm. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. So I remember Bob Proctor saying, everything's created twice, once in the unseen and then in the seen. So the unseen is the subconscious, feeling as though it's already there without seeing it, believing it. And how do you feel something that isn't physically there yet? And this is, what we're getting into here and that we've been explaining. So he says, chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you. Listen to that. Everything, including dust and feathers, abide by law. We are part of these laws that have been here for ages and will forever be a part of them. So to understand what Neville's talking about and universal laws and stuff, he even mentions it subtly here. Chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you, nor is predestined fate the author of your fortune or misfortune. So you're creating everything in your life with what you focus on and what you feel to be true. So the subconscious is not concerned with truth or falsity of your feeling. It doesn't care. It always accepts as true that which you feel to be true. The key word is feel, right? So if you don't feel it, you might believe it on your conscious level, but if you don't believe it on a subconscious level, you're unaligned, right? You have to feel it. You have to. And because of this quality of the subconscious, there is nothing impossible to a human being. Listen to that. It just accepts. It wants to receive what you feel. Everything's a mirror of what you impress in your subconscious. And I'm kind of talking advancedly here, but I remember Neville talking in another book. He said it's not the how long you do it, how long you feel it. He said it's, and actually we'll talk about this when we in another chapter in this book. It's the consistency, the frequency, and intensity of feeling, not just I felt it for an hour and that's it, and then you go right back to your day job or whatever, or in some negative situation, and you forget the feeling. So because of that quality of the subconscious, there's nothing impossible to you unless you believe so, right? We're the only problem and the only solution. You can believe that you can't achieve on a subconscious level, but you can believe that you can, and you will, and you already have on a subconscious level. So he says consciousness is really one and undivided. This is so good. I had to underline this part because everything is consciousness, right? There's just different forms of it. We look like, look at all our videos here. There's physical things that we see with our eyes, including ourselves. We're all part of this consciousness. So it's really one and undivided. This is where, we talk about some deep stuff here. But for creation's sake, it appears to be divided into two. That's what we've been talking about, conscious and subconscious. So these are two, and even describe them, I think, at the beginning of this chapter as rivers. It's the same ocean or same sea, but two different paths, two different streams of consciousness. So we have the conscious and subconscious. So he says it is easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world it's easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. Whoa. The outside mirrors the inside. As within, so without. Listen to that. It's easy to ascribe your feeling to events in the world. So that's what we're talking about. Watching the news, watching all this negative stuff happen in certain countries, politics, all this stuff, right? We're surrounded with a lot of ugly stuff. The question is, are you allowing that to affect what's happening to you? Bob would scream that. You control the outside world. Never let the outside world control you. Never. So it's easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. Wow. That's a big one, because a lot of people see what's happening in the world as separate than themselves. That's big. And the outside would just mirror the inside, whether it's on an individual basis or collective consciousness as well. We can get really deep about it. I know weather is even affected by consciousness. It rains in certain places, often because of certain vibration. Everything's connected, but that's consciousness. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but you get the idea. As within, so without. So what's inside you on a continuous basis?
Mhm.
Yeah, you give yourself an applause.
Thank you.
Give yourself a pat in the back.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Thank you.
No, you can give yourself a pat on the back for that. It's so true. It's a small book and it's a small chapter, and we've spent the last 2 weeks dissecting it. But it's not a book report. It's about helping you understand. It's really important for us to understand how our mind works. Because you are in control of your mind. If you can't control your mind, you can't control anything. And yeah, it's such a deep chapter. So really the author, I think in conclusion, he's placing that responsibility, sort of like Jamel said, and power. It's squarely on you. It's squarely on you, the individual. And be aware that we are always using the law, whether subconsciously or unconsciously. You're always impressing your subconscious mind. You're always impressing subconscious. And you're always feeling something. You're always feeling something. And you're always assuming something to be true. And so, the question isn't if the law works, it's what you are working it with. So you have to have that discipline. You have to have that awareness and discipline. Your discipline of attention, discipline of assumption, and of feeling. And that doesn't mean emotional suppression. It means choosing the state that you're going to live from. So take responsibility without blame. And so this isn't about self-criticism, but it's just about self-direction. And as Alicia said, it's about self-leadership.
I want to thank you, Paul. I think it was Jamel that said we have about 60,000 plus thoughts a day. You can't possibly keep track of your thoughts, but you know how you feel. If you pause throughout the day and do a check-in, however you're feeling is what you've been thinking about for most of the day. So this is why emotions are extremely important. They're speaking to us. Because I have a thought, and I'll go on to another thought, and I'll try to think of what I thought about, and I can't remember. So thoughts are coming and going. They're like clouds. But I also wanted to mention, I had this little aha moment. So as I said earlier, it's instead of trying to force a change, force a goal, force something, to relax in it and trust the process. This is why we're here every week. We're talking about this process. And when you understand it, and just because you understand it doesn't necessarily mean you're applying it, but at least you're getting an understanding. We're putting the power back in your hands through knowledge, but it's up to each one of us to apply it and to be aware of what we're applying. But to do it in a relaxed feeling, knowing that I trust the process. So my is extremely handy. He can fix and do just about anything, and I'm always impressed. And sometimes he gets stumped about something, right? This certain thing isn't doing it. But I know he'll figure it out. And to me, it is done. I never give it another thought. I know whatever it is that he's fixing or building or doing, it's going to get done. I just know it. So I don't give any attention to it. It's done. And every single time it gets done or fixed, and even if it wasn't the outcome maybe that he wanted or something, I know it's for a better reason, or I know. and I just relax. And I was saying to myself, geez, how come I can put so much trust and faith into what my husband's fixing or doing? And sometimes I question the universe. That was a wake-up moment for me. And that's when I started relaxing more. I just started going with the flow more often as something, a wholesome outcome. I still have to take actions. My husband still had to take actions. But the actions are in, at least for me, talking about my stuff, I'm doing it in a much more relaxed state. I'm going to do my part and trust that everything that I've been studying, everything that I note and feel to be true, as part of the process, I'm going to trust. I'm just going to. And when I started doing that, synchronicities started popping up that were very interesting. I just say very interesting. And I don't get overly excited about the synchronicities, the opportunities. I just go, these are very interesting. I acknowledge them. I'm grateful for them. I still continue to do what I need to do and what I get to do, and just let the process flow through me without creating resistance, with doubt, worry, fear. I just trust the process. So that for me, because I go, how come I'm looking at my husband thinking, if he says he's going to do something, it's a done deal. And I think this is why when we repeat our goals and whatnot, we say, it is done. It is so. It's almost like amen, right? When you pray, amen, meaning it's done. Don't think about it anymore. Continue to do whatever it is that you can do, but trust the process, that the right people, the right opportunities, the right resources will reveal themselves to you, right? So receive graciously. Alicia?
I was thinking about when you say that our feelings and emotion are speaking to us. And I think about, I was driving the car today, and a lamp in the dashboard from the car, is on. And I was like, oh, I need to check what is that. So I checked with the the manual and say, oh, you need to change this. And this is the same with us. Our body is telling us what we are in our thinking. It is our feelings and emotions are the body wisdom talking to us, telling, okay, you are feeling this, then you are thinking this. But sometimes we don't stay. I mean, from the car, for me, it was like as soon as the lamp, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to check what is that. And I checked there, I said, okay, I need to go to the mechanic guy so that he can fix my car, because I don't drive more if I know that the car will break. And it's the same here with us. The body is sending us a message to stay, to take, to slow down, to think what are you doing at the moment. But no, we drive in 150 kilometers per hour and don't take the time to slow down, to reflect, to think about what is ongoing inside us. So that is one. And also, I love that you say the trust the process, because, not to get attention to the goals, because sometimes we want the results. We put so much focus on the result, so we don't focus on the process. And when we focus on the process, we are planting seeds and waiting this seeds to come up. And it's that we need to think about that. I was, for me, was before, like, I was a person that I didn't have the patience to wait. It should be this. So I plant a seed today. I wanted to see the results today, and it caused a lot of waste of energy. And I say, okay, I'm planting seeds, and I will get back from the universe what is good and what is not. Giving it will give me feedback so that I can course correct. Um, so when we do the course correction, then we learn all the time, and also taking action from inspiration and not from fear of I must, so now I'm like, okay, I take action. If I get an idea, it's more from inspiration and not from, oh, I should do this, because I'm shooting myself all the time. So now I'm so happy that I am in that, like, the inspiration. I believe in the process, and that everything will come to me when it's needed.
I love it. This has been such an amazing session on Coach's Corner. And right where you said, I believe, Alicia, it was 11/11 on January 11th. Look at that. And speaking of belief, the kind of close here, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And that's what Neville talks about. And that kingdom is your subconscious, or your awareness of what's in your subconscious. What are you feeling, right? He says nothing comes from without. All things come from within, from the subconscious. And your subconscious will be with you probably even after your physical self, and you are already that which you want to be. And your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. That is an interesting concept, right? You are already that which you want to be. And that's what he means by consciousness is everything. So that version of you is already here. Are you matching the frequency of it? And how do you match the frequency of it? Through your feelings. You have to feel it. To seek on the outside for that which you do not feel, you are to seek in vain. So you're looking on the outside for validation. That's the opposite, right? For we never find that which we want. We find only that which we are. Massive, right? Who are you? Who are you today? Who are you tomorrow? Really, really think about that, because it's not what you want. It's who you are. And that who you are, the subconscious matches that frequency to infinite intelligence, or, the formless substance, if you will. So denying the evidence of the senses and appropriating the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the way to the realization of your desire. That sums up everything. Denying the evidence of the senses. This is why I was saying your senses can be a gift and a curse. And guess what? We all, human beings, we've been conditioned to rely on our senses since birth. And there's a lot going on other than what we just see. And Neville does a beautiful job explaining this. And, to segue into next session, he says mastery of self-control of your thoughts and feelings is your highest achievement. We're the center of all of it. We're the star of our own movie. Our mind is the center of divine operation. You can go down the line with that. Mastery of self-control of your thoughts and feelings is your highest achievement. So focus on that. That is massive. So if you don't know what you're thinking or aware of it or manage your thoughts, you continuously have mixed results, right? You're happy one day and you're sad the next day. You're focused on your goals one day and then you're not the next day. I see this in a lot of people, and this was me for many years. And he says, lastly, until perfect self-control is attained, right? In spite of appearances, you feel all that you want to feel. Use sleep and prayer to aid you in realizing your desired states. These are two gateways into the subconscious. And guess what? We're going to talk about those in future sessions. Prayer and sleep. These are gateways to that subconscious. And this is to help you until perfect self-control is attained, which it's a process, right? So this is so good. Thank you all for sharing such amazing things, amazing knowledge. Yes, where's the applause? I can't do it enough. Well, I guess I can. There you go. So, tune in next Sunday, and don't let this just be inspiration or entertainment. If you felt something real here, feeling is the secret. We're all here to help you. We want the best for you. We want this year to be the best year of your life. If you've been thinking about growing in some way, our call links, whatever platform you're looking at this, message us. Just send a message to us. Hey, I like when you said this or whatever. I want to do this or whatever. Let that inner voice, that feeling is telling you, and set up a call with us. We definitely want to meet you and help you with this material. Anybody want to say anything? Are we good?
We're good.
I just want to say next week is going to be a doozy, because how many people really understand sleep? It was an eye-opener when I read about it. So I'm really looking forward to next week when we talk about sleep. And just wanted to ask the audience to be aware of what feeling do you notice the most that returns over and over, even when you don't want to. Just kind of be aware of that. That was it for me.
Awesome. Bye, everybody. Appreciate you watching. Apply this material. Talk to you soon.